Vatican II. Perhaps no other gathering has sparked more excitement, ignited more controversy, or caused more change within the Roman Catholic Church. An assembly of over 2,500 bishops from around the world, the Council has been declared by many the pivotal event of the Church's contemporary history. Some say that Vatican II came out of the blue, while others argue that the Council was long overdue. But what led the Church to convene this ecumenical summit in the first place? John the 23rd, leader of the Catholic Church, does something altogether unexpected. He announces the 21st Ecumenical Council in Rome, Italy, an event which would become known worldwide as Vatican II.
Many historians say that Vatican II was probably the most significant religious event in the 20th century. It was a very, very important, not simply for the Catholic Church, but you might say for the entire world.
But not everyone initially saw the potential of such a council. On January 25, 1959, a group of cardinals gathered together in the Basilica of St. Paul's outside the walls for the Day of Prayer for Christian Unity. It was here, at the very end of the service, that Pope John made his announcement, first revealing his intention to hold a new ecumenical council in the coming years. But the cardinals present did not applaud or cheer. They simply remained in absolute silence. But what prompted this sudden call to action by the Pope? On the surface, it seemed as though the Catholic Church of the late 50s had been booming, with mass attendance in the U.S. at an all-time high and parish life expanding. Enrollment in seminaries was up, and more Catholic schools were being built and opened with each new year.
Pope John the 23rd was a much-loved pope, elected in 1958. He was only on the chair of Peter for 5 years, and yet he left an enormous impression on the world, even for those outside the Catholic Church. He was greatly respected, revered for his compassion, his almost avuncular style of leadership.
The council would officially begin on October 11, 1962. But how do we arrive from Pope John's announcement on January 25, 1959, to the opening of Vatican II? The Holy Father wanted to know what the bishops held as the most important topics to be addressed. The Church in every country had a voice, as the pastoral leaders were being asked to share their concerns for the future of evangelization. October 1962. Leaders from across the world gather in Rome for a monumental meeting with His Holiness Pope John the 23rd. It is the first of 4 summits that will come to be known as the Second Vatican Council. After months of tedious preparation and document drafting, cardinals, bishops, priests, and lay theologians are set to embark on a revolutionary journey to examine the very soul of the Catholic Church. And now facing the uncertain climate of the 60s, they turn their eyes to modern life and open their arms to the world. As Pope John the 23rd would frequently come to say, it had become time to throw open the windows of the Church and let the fresh air of the Spirit blow through. But Vatican II would come to usher in dramatic changes, particularly regarding liturgy. Nevertheless, these changes would remain congruent with the traditions of the first millennium. But Pope John the 23rd, who had remained mostly silent on the topic of Vatican II since his original announcement, was about to turn things around. Pope John would candidly speak out with his sincere hopes for the Council, including a desire to heal divisions within the Church and to promote ecumenical relations. In gentle yet salient words, he would also address the bishops regarding a recent interview on Italian television, in which Cardinal Ottaviani had predicted that the council would be one of condemnation. As the council convened, one of the first things that became apparent was an obstacle of communication. With bishops attending from all corners of the world, Latin would be employed as the official language of the council. However, not everyone held the same level of mastery. In the midst of various controversies, the topic of liturgy quickly seized the attention of the bishops during the first session of Vatican II. This was aided by the fact that Pope John XXIII's predecessor, Pius XII, had given significant support for liturgical renewal, particularly in his revisions of the liturgies of Holy Week. An Easter Vigil Mass was implemented, allowing Catholics to celebrate the feast the evening before and not just during Holy Saturday morning, in order to make the Eucharist more accessible. Pope Pius also had reduced fasting time to 3 hours before receiving communion. From the very start of Vatican II, liturgy was an integral part of the Council itself.